Work is everything to me. Those words from my husband stirred my heart. I had been troubled for a very long time with a husband who prioritized work over family. People were having a birthday party surrounding a boy who looks to be about 4 years old at a family restaurant I visited for a change of pace. While they were enjoying a delicious meal, joyful laughter filled the family restaurant. Looking at them, everyone would see nothing but an ordinary happy family celebrating the birthday of their only child. However, that's only if the father of that family isn't my husband who troubles. On to Mikery. My name is Trinity Walker. I'm a 32-year-old novelist. I mainly write mystery novels. Back when I was just starting out, I was unknown. But recently, due to word of mouth from bookstore staff, my past work gained media attention. Though it's been a gradual process, I've started receiving opportunities for interviews. I met my husband, Brandon, who's a company employee through a mutual friend. We've been married for 2 years. His family is doing well, and his father retired exactly a year ago. After that, seems he's been enjoying a slow-paced life in the countryside with his wife. My father-in-law is a strict person, and my husband was raised quite strictly when he was little, so he seemed to be just uncomfortable around his father. Maybe that's why he rarely talked about his family. Curious chickens. As for me, I got along well with my in-laws, and they've always treated me kindly and cared about me. I loved both my in-laws and the town they lived in. The town where my in-laws live is a 1.5-hour drive from where my husband and I live, but I would often visit alone. My in-laws started farming as a new venture after retirement, and I helped out occasionally, which served as a refreshing change from my usual routine, considering that I spend most of my work time sitting in front of my computer as a novelist, and that I tend to stay home while working. Getting a good sweat working farming was a welcome change of pace. While working on their farm, I've talked to my in-laws about my husband before. My husband seems to be uncomfortable around his parents, but they always showed concern for him, asking me about his health and work. Seeing them like that, I knew that my in-laws truly cared about my husband. I also understood that my father-in-law raised my husband strictly because he loves his son and wanted what's best for him. My father-in-law raised my husband strictly because he loves his son and wanted what's best for him. Because I attentively listened to my in-laws, I believe I was able to build a good relationship with them. However, I have some concerns. One of them is that my husband prioritizes work over everything and completely neglects our home, where I am responsible for all the housework, and he pushes everything onto me.
Brian, I understand you are busy with work, but can you help with the housework a bit?
Huh? I'm really busy with work. I don't have time for that.
I'm working too, writing manuscripts every day. I'm not a full-time housewife, you know?
But unlike me, you're always at home, right? You shove enough time to do these things.
It'd be nice if you could help even a little bit.
Anyway, you handle housework. I know you often go to your parents' house. If you have time for that, you can do the housework, right?
He completely disregards what I say and insists that housework is something for people who stay at home. He now treats me like a housekeeper. And my other concern is that my husband has been displaying a cold attitude towards our son, Adonis, lately. Adonis is now 6 years old and he's in the playful phase. He said the other day when we were inside the house, Adonis was drawing. I wondered what he was drawing, so I quietly looked from behind. It was a drawing of our family, me, my husband, and Adonis, Aunt I smiling and eating together. I couldn't help but hug Adonis.
Adonis really good at drawing. Yeah, I wanna show this to Daddy when he comes home.
Yes, I want to show this to Daddy when he comes home. So,
Yes, that's a great idea. I'm sure Daddy will be thrilled. You'll see it.
Adonis was eagerly awaiting his father's return. That night, when my husband came back from work, Adonis handed him the drawing shyly.
Daddy, I drew a picture there. Here you go. But I have got picture, today. Here you go.
Oh yeah, that's good. Thanks.
He said in an emotionless voice, and returned the drawing to Adonis after just glancing at it.
Brandon, can't you say something more? Something like, Adonis put a lot of effort into his drawing. It's a picture of the whole family happily eating together.
Oh yeah, it's good. Adonis was really looking forward to showing this to you. I'm tired. Yeah, so I said it's good, right? I'm tired. Just want to eat, take a bath, and go to sleep.
I didn't know what to say to my son, who was listening to our exchange with his head drooping. While holding his drawing, into which he had put a lot of effort for a moment. My husband, who is now so cold, was different before we got married. He was kind, cheerful, and often smiled. He used to be someone who listened to me attentively. His attitude began to change about half a year into our marriage. But lately, he seems particularly busy with work, and when he comes home, he looks grumpy.
I have a lot of responsibilities, and I have to handle a lot of tasks that won't progress if I don't do them.
But it's Adonis's birthday. Can't you take the day off and celebrate with us? I'm sure Adonis is looking forward to it.
No means no. I've been saying it for a while now, but I'm busy with work. And,
I hate to say this, but what about your, responsibility as a husband and a father? You keep saying that you are busy with work, but don't you have other responsibilities you have to fulfill before work? A day.
he's so annoying. Enough already. No means no. Hubby should just organize the birthday party by herself, inviting my mom and dad.
At that, my husband went into the bedroom. I comforted our son and put him to bed early.
Let's do some drawing together again soon.
This can't go on. With that thought in mind, I headed to my in-laws' house the next day. They welcomed me warmly, just as they always do, despite my sudden visit. I tried to tell them everything that had happened so far, in my own way. But when I actually tried to speak, the words got stuck and I couldn't express myself well.
Something wrong, Trinity. If there's anything, you can tell us anytime. That's right, Trinity, you're a part of our family.
Their kind words filled me with gratitude. The things that had happened till now were going through my head one after another, and I wasn't confident to explain it all right then. I decided to take a little more time to organize my thoughts and feelings before telling them. And then, one day, ding dong, the doorbell rang. A package arrived while my husband was out. I've been into online shopping lately. Balancing household chores and work is challenging, so buying things at has become a way to unwind. I thought it might be the item I had ordered, so I quickly opened the package. Inside, I found a children's toy. I immediately thought that it was a birthday present for my son. I was happy, thinking that my husband is trying to celebrate our son's birthday in his own way. So confirmed with my husband when he returned. I've received a package, and when I opened it, it was a toy. Is this a present for Adonis?
He replied, "Oh, that no, it's a gift for my boss's son." What do you mean? I mean, it isn't for Adonis. No, it's not. You should buy a present for Adonis, something you think he'd like.
After that, he said, I have to go to works again, looking flustered, and left. I saw him off, feeling disappointed and wondering whether the present was really for his boss's son. My husband values his work greatly and places importance on his relationships with others. It wouldn't be strange for him to know his boss's son's birthday. While trying to reassure myself, I was filled with mixed emotions. A few days later, I was getting close to the deadline for the serialization I was working on. I was busy every day, facing my computer. My husband was going on a business trip for over a week, which is meant a slight reduction in household chores. So I was putting extra effort into my work. After working from morning to evening and feeling a bit overwhelmed, I thought of going to a nearby family restaurant for a change of scenery. I wanted to have something sweet and refresh myself before getting back to my manuscript. Upon entering the restaurant, I took a seat by the window where the view was clear. I looked at the menu, contemplating what to order, and then I heard a child's laughter coming from the table diagonally in front of me. It seemed they were celebrating a birthday, and the child was excited as he got a present. I couldn't help but think that I'd like to celebrate a birthday in such a simple and joyful way. As I gazed at the family, I took a second look. The person who was sitting across from the woman and the child was undeniably my husband. My husband was talking to the woman and child with a big smile. At that moment, I realized everything. My husband had been having an affair with that woman. All his business trips and overtime had been excuses to spend time with her and her child. Even that toy, it was a gift for his affair partner's child. Everything he had told me was a lie. Steps is important in a state of shock. I stared at my husband, his affair partner, and the child. They were oblivious to my presence. My husband was looking at the child, who was happy to have received the toy, with a warm smile, and unable to bear it any longer. I approached my husband's table and said with the most forced smile I could muster, "Happy birthday! What a lovely family you have!"
These in an turns of moment my husband looked up and saw me, his face turned ashen. His affair partner seemed briefly surprised but quickly smiled and said, thank you, we are having our son's birthday party today."
Actually, I'm a novelist. I'm currently working on a story with a family theme. Would you mind telling me about your family?
Is that so? Sure, I'd love to. Can you take care of him for a little while?
Yes, of course.
But the woman readily agreed to my request. Meanwhile, my husband appeared even more cornered, with his face drained of color. Leaving my husband like that behind, we went to my table and engaged in this conversation. I introduced some of my past novels, and it turned out that she enjoyed reading and had even read some of my work. Given the opportunity, we exchanged contact information. I told her I'll get in touch when the story inspired by what you told me today is finished. She returned to her original seat. My husband, pretending not to know anything, asked her how was it, and quickly left the restaurant.
I'll get in touch when the story inspired by what you told me today is finished. I'll get in touch when the story inspired by what you told me today is finished.
After I left the restaurant, I headed to my in-laws' house. I told them everything about what happened at the family restaurant and the dynamics of my relationship with my husband. I texted my husband once I got home. He read my message, but there was no reply. That day, my husband never returned home. The next day, my husband finally returned. I confronted him about what happened at the family restaurant, but he kept feigning ignorance. Even at this point, he was going to hide the fact that he was having an affair.
You were at the family restaurant yesterday with your affair partner and her child, weren't you?
It wasn't me. I just came back today to pick up some work stuff.
My husband, visibly irritated, stuck to his denial. Frustrated, I showed him my phone. Can you say the same thing after seeing this? Are you still going to deny it? Yesterday, right after I exchanged the contact information with my husband's affair partner, Nayli, she sent me a picture of my husband. No, it's not like that. We just happened to have gotten along at work and took a photo, plus we're just celebrating a birthday yesterday.
Eli sent it to me.
In the recording, she told me that they met through a mutual friend, that he had told Nayeli he was single, and that he had even gone as far as making promises to marry her. Nayeli, who was divorced and raising a child by herself, was looking for someone who would be there for her.
It's not what you're thinking. Yeah, fine, I cheated. I cheated, so what? Yeah, that's right. Nayli's parents are loaded. I'm going to divorce you, marry Nayli. I always saw you as disposable. Look, the right time has come, and so LOL.
What do you have to say for yourself after hearing all this? Are you still going to deny it? What's the matter with you being so defiant? What's the matter with you being so defiant?
It doesn't matter. Are you kidding me? I mean, stuff.
Bang! At that moment, the door flung open and my parents-in-law came in from the next room. Dad, Mom, why are you here?
Brandon, how could you do something so terrible to Trinity?
Actions. I had already told my parents-in-law about the incident at the restaurant, and they were furious.
How could you do something like this to your wife and child? I don't remember raising you to be like this. First, apologize to Trinity, and to Adonis too.
Shut up. I'm not the bad guy here.
What'd you say?
Because he was raised strictly by my parents-in-law. My husband had developed a warped perspective towards family and home.
After my husband confessed how he had been feeling, my parents-in-law felt responsible and fell silent.
Every time I visited, they have been worried about you, you know?
What's the point of that now? Acting all saintly won't change anything?
Out of love, nobody would do those things.
I raised my voice for the first time to my husband, who had warped values and kept saying childish things.
So someone, if they didn't love you, they wouldn't have gotten involved with you, and they could have just ignored you. But they didn't do that and raised you with all their hearts because they love you from the bottom of their hearts.
Taste with my strong words, my husband hasn't hesitated for a moment. And so,
You are, remember, you are still you no matter what environment you grew up in, and, how you feel like that's relevant now. It's wrong to take it out on your own son.
My husband couldn't say anything back to my words.
Either way, I've told everything about this to Nayla.
but what?
You get easily shaken up, don't you? Yes, I told everything in your lie. I also told her how you lied to her, then she was really angry. Is how you lied to her, then she was really angry. It helped with various things like the photos. I also told Nayla's parents about this.
It's her parents too, of course. Did you know that her parents are lawyers?
Yes, her parents are lawyers and seem to have their own firm. It seems that they're, quite angry too, saying our child has been deceived. So, you're planning to sue you soon.
Like that inch time, ever my husband was trembling. Oh, you a pale face, as if he had been dropped in hell. I'm sorry, it's all my fault. Please, can we start over? I'll apologize and do the housework.
Oh, what are you saying now? Our marriage is over. Let's get a divorce.
Declared divorce to my husband and told him that I will claim child support and alimony. Subsequently, the divorce with my husband was successfully finalized. Just as I had announced, I claimed for child support and alimony. Actually, Nayli's parents helped with these matters. They introduced their lawyer friend to me, and I was able to sue my husband. He ended up buried in debt and now lives a lonely life. Some days later, my in-laws apologized to me once again. They said that it was their fault that things turned out this way because they raised him in a wrong way, but I expressed my gratitude to them. It's true that I was hurt by my husband's actions, but amidst the challenge of balancing work and family, the people who provided a supportive environment where I could catch my breath were none. But other than my in-laws, I intend to continue visiting them with my son from time to time. I'm looking forward to a new life with my son.